Chris here, just looking at questions in quizzes, and I want to look at two things today. One is the arithmetic function of a quiz and also the question library very briefly. So in the arithmetic one, I can actually put in some strings that actually replace these numbers, and I'll show you that in a second and how to do it as well. So if a student's answering the question here and they answer the questions here, whatever they want to do, when they're done, if they decide, you know what, I think I made a mistake, I want to try it again, sure, you can try it again, because next time you see this, it's actually going to be, and these are the actual answers here. Notice the first question, 450 at 5.5%. If I exit this and do another preview, the next time around, it's going to be different questions for the student, and every time they do it, and every student's going to get slightly different questions. The text is going to be the same on these ones, but the number is going to change. So great for that workplace math, or even for any other courses. This time the first question is 350 at 1.5% for 4 years. So how does this work? So the question editor, I'm going to go ahead and edit this question for a minute. And the way I created it was insert a arithmetic question, and then here's my text, and I just need to use these replace strings, the curly brackets, and I'm going to identify variables as P, R, and T. And you can use X, Y, Z, whatever you want. Okay? And I've decided the formula should be P times R divided by 100 times T. And I can test this every time I want once I identify my variables. I'm going to enforce precision because it's money to 2 decimal places, so it'll actually round for me as well. And then if I identify my variables, I range them from investing $250 to $600, and I put it to 2 decimal places, but the step is going to be up in $50. I don't want to go into pennies. The next one, the rate of interest between 1.5% and 6%, and I'm going to have 1 decimal place, so that 0.5 is going to be active, and then the time just between 1 and 5 years, I'm not going to have any decimal places. You do need to be careful. If you're going to do steps with decimal places, make sure you identify decimal places, otherwise it's going to round for you, and the student won't get the benefit of that rounding, and will end up being wrong. Units, if you want to, you can include units and have them being half the points, and they have to put in dollars if you want. So if I hit test, always a great thing to do, it's going to spit out for you the first time. If I had these values, they think the formula is going to be this, that's actually going to do this, and the solution should be here, 30.00. And if I hit test again, it'll do it with a different set of values, and every time it'll be a different set of values, and I can make sure that it's working, and this is great. So adding new questions, this is the arithmetic feature. I'm just going to go back here, cancel what I'm doing, and I'm going to say add, new question, arithmetic, and I can have it how many points I want. There's my text, there's my formula. You can add extra variables if you want. You can have no variables if you want, and you just want them to put in numbers, whatever you want to do there. Okay, so that's the arithmetic. I think it's really cool. The second thing I'd mention quickly is something in question library. So this quiz I've got here, multiplying, dividing integers. I'm actually doing a random search from a bunch of ones I have here, saying take 5 of the 7 questions and give them in random order. So how does that work? Just going to go back to quizzes for a minute. And in quizzes, I can have something called a question library. And that library can hold all kinds of different questions in here if I want. And I can use them in multiple quizzes too if I want to. So I broke them down into add, subtract integers, multiply and divide integers, etc. Okay, so each of these are all a group of different possible questions. And then when I want to create a new, I can have new folders if I want to. And then when I want to create a new quiz, so I'm going to make a new quiz here, and I'll just call it review if I wanted to. Review. I'm not going to give it a category right now. I'm going to add it some questions, and I'm going to pull from my question library. And I think this is kind of cool. So I'm going to add a question pool, and I can browse my question library, and I could select multiple things. I think I'm just going to do one, break them down at a time, because I want a little bit of these. So I'm going to say these add, subtract integers. There's 7 possible ones there. I'm going to say take 2 of those. So it's giving me an example of 2 of those. Save. And you can give it a title if you want to. So add, subtract, help you keep things in order here. And then I think I'm going to take my next one. I'm going to add from my question pool, browse my library here. I think I'll take from solving equations. There's 5 questions there. I think I'll take 3 of those. And it shows me over here, once this renders, it's going to show all the possible questions there. Save. Oops, question pool title. Solve. This will show up nicer in a minute. And then if I preview now, this student's going to get from this question pool start quiz a couple questions from the first one and a couple questions from the next one. And the next student's going to get a different group. Everyone's going to get a slightly different one. I'm not sure why that's, oh, there, it's resolving now. Okay, and then another student's going to get different questions, and you can have them redo it again if you wanted to from that question pool. And within the question pool, you can also have numerical ones, so even those are going to be changed.